What's up guys, Roman from RNS Entertainment here with this week's episode of Comic History, the weekly series where we go over the iconic origins and storylines in the world of comics. In this video, we're continuing on with our Agent Venom series. A big part of the comic histories we've done so far has been on the symbiote characters in Marvel Comics. I've already covered the origins of most of the symbiotes, from the major ones like Venom, Carnage, Anti-Venom, and Agent Venom, to the lesser known symbiotes like Mania, the daughter of Venom, Toxin, the son of Carnage, and a ton of other symbiote stories and crossovers like Deadpool vs. Carnage and Punisher vs. Anti-Venom. In this video, we're continuing right where we left off of the 2011 Agent Venom solo series, following Agent Venom's origin and Agent Venom vs. Kraven, both of which we've covered in previous episodes, with Agent Venom vs. Spider-Man, an epic classic Venom Spider-Man battle that occurs in issues number 3 and number 4. At this point, former high school bully turned war hero Flash Thompson has been bonded with the Venom symbiote to take on high-risk missions as the government's own Spider-Man. And after a mission to destroy a mining facility of vibranium goes awry, Flash was left stranded in the Savage Land and cut off from communications, being bonded with the symbiote too long to keep control over it and fighting off an attack from a crazed Kraven the Hunter. During his time in the Savage Land, he's videotaped by the criminal boss responsible for the vibranium weaponization, Crime Master, who sends his number one enforcer Jack-o'-lantern after the exposed Flash Thompson. Jack and Agent Venom met once before in Venom issue number 1, where in a war-torn nation overseas, Venom shoved a live grenade in Jack's mouth, making his face a ruined mess and cementing his lifelong hatred for Agent Venom. He does this by going straight after the person closest to Flash in his personal life, Betty Brant, and we start out with Jack appearing in her room in the middle of the night, taunting her and generally scaring the shit out of her before tossing her room and taking her hostage. Meanwhile, Flash's handler, General Dodge, is reminded that Flash has been out of communication for 3 days, and recommended too that they should detonate the failsafe bomb implanted in case he went rogue. Dodge says that for now they keep faith that Flash will keep control, and hope he's able to complete his mission and destroy the Antarctic vibranium before it's able to be weaponized. Meanwhile, Flash has lost all control to the symbiote, with Venom in the driver's seat controlling their actions, brutally ripping through Crime Master's henchmen, impaling them and tearing their bodies in half, while screaming that they will murder them, with Flash telling himself they deserve it in his mind. The Venom symbiote becomes increasingly more enraged, and Flash accepts that he's a spectator here, enjoying the ride and letting the symbiote do what it does best. Feeling euphoric over the power the symbiote gives him, Flash realizes that this is a bad sign, and uses all of his willpower to force the symbiote to allow him to inject himself with his last dose of sedative, buying himself about an hour of control to attempt to finish his mission. Agent Venom charges directly into Crime Master's henchmen on the roof of the facility, dropping the C4 and making a wild leap as he detonates the entire place, shooting a last-ditch web line that manages to hit the escaping helicopter and pull Flash aboard. Flying away with the last shipment of vibranium, he hears a voice come over the radio, calling him by his real name and letting him know that he was seen without the symbiote. Crime Master tells Agent Venom that he's going to fly the shipment straight to Crime Master, using his military clearance to enter New York, or else Jack-o'-lantern will detonate Betty Brant with an oversized bomb that she's currently strapped to. Crime Master says they'll release Betty unharmed if Flash complies, and says that this actually worked out better for Crime Master, because until Venom showed up, he didn't have a way to get the vibranium into the city. Agent Venom meets with Crime Master, knowing that the government would have been notified when he ran his credentials, and also knowing that the Venom symbiote was once again in complete control. It was just playing nice by letting Flash continue to act. Crime Master jovially greets Agent Venom, who is becoming more and more unstable by the moment, looking increasingly more like the classic Venom design over Flash's updated look. Crime Master tells him where Betty is and lets him leave, with the statement that since he knew Flash's identity, he would be calling on him later for a favor. Knowing that Flash is handicapped without the symbiote, he's willing to bank on Flash leaving this part out of his report so that he's able to keep the symbiote. The Venom symbiote takes full control, charging and swinging through the city, though it's still willing to go where Flash wants and help him save Betty, which he begs it to, telling it to do whatever it takes. Suddenly, Spider-Man, who had been checking on Betty as Peter Parker, attacks Flash at full force, assuming that Venom had somehow reappeared and was back to his old tricks, trying to get at Peter through his loved ones, and that he must have kidnapped Betty. Spider-Man fights with everything he's got, and the Venom symbiote becomes enraged, fighting back with Flash begging it to stop, that there's no time, but the symbiote's hatred of Spider-Man overpowers Flash entirely, and in a classic Venom vs. Spider-Man moment, Venom rears back and roars, "Kill Spider-Man!" as Flash's superiors say that he has lost all control, and detonates the failsafe to take him down. Meanwhile, one of Crime Master's henchmen brings him a small item they found on the helicopter, and after a brief second, Crime Master pushes him off the roof, with the man exploding as Flash's failsafe device blows up, as the Venom symbiote had actually outsmarted Flash's handlers and ejected the bomb from Flash's body. Venom and Spider-Man face off, with the symbiote saying that Spider-Man is always in its way, that it hates him, and they continue fighting with Spider-Man demanding to know where Betty is. Flash tries to get through to Spider-Man, mentioning the bomb and trying to force the symbiote to escape and save Betty, but Spider-Man continually assaults him, causing the symbiote's rage to grow uncontrollably, with it taking control and thinking to itself, no more pain, no more Spider-Man. Venom punches Spider-Man into a drugstore, saying to get up and die on his feet, while the symbiote's thoughts begin to fuse with Flash's, thinking that Spider-Man had locked them away, attacked them, betrayed them, and in a panic, Flash takes control long enough to grab handfuls of sedatives off the shelves, downing all of them to get the symbiote in check, stumbling out of the store with Spider-Man following, saying that he'll fight Venom anywhere he wanted if he would just let him save Betty, but Venom throws a truck at Spider-Man, saying that they will deal with Betty when he's dead. With no time to use his webbing, Spider-Man takes the brunt of the impact on his shoulder to save the civilians around him, and Flash pleads with the symbiote to stop, that if it stayed to kill Spider-Man, it would be killing Betty, and more so, Flash's handlers would kill him, not knowing that the bomb had already been detonated. The symbiote likes Flash as a host, and decides to save Betty in an attempt to keep him. Venom makes it to the building where Betty is being held right as the bomb goes off, and drops to his knees thinking that he isn't the hero, he's the villain. He then notices Spider-Man swing up with Betty, who he had managed to save at the last moment, and Venom thanks him as he leaves. The symbiote gives over control to Flash, knowing that it had went too far, and they notice a spider tracer that Spider-Man had left on them, keeping it for later. Flash manages to get in contact with General Dodge, and tells him that he's en route to stop the vibranium shipment, and thanking him for not blowing him up. He's then attacked by the mechanical creations of Jack-o'-lantern, which spit fire and stab at him while he fights through them. Jack swoops in and attacks Venom, who is exhausted from the continuous battles with Kraven, Spider-Man, and the sedatives pumping through his blood. Jack says that he never had a nemesis before, but that Venom fits the bill, having turned his face into a gruesome mess, and with Jack trying to kill Betty. He says that though Crime Master wants to keep Venom alive, Jack wants him dead, but Crime Master contacts Jack and tells him to get to the shipment, which is currently being raided by government forces. Jack leaves, with Venom throwing the spider tracer onto him, and then returns the symbiote to Project Rebirth, lying to General Dodge about losing control multiple times and delivering the shipment to Crime Master, keeping all of it a secret to be able to rejoin with Venom in the future. Dodge says that Flash's mission was to destroy the vibranium, and that now the American military was going to weaponize it themselves, with Flash saying that it shouldn't be used at all, and that the America is the good guy thing was starting to feel really subjective to him. Later at Betty's apartment, Flash, her, and Peter are talking about the events of the day, with Betty thinking that she was targeted because of her investigative pieces on the organized crime in the city, and Flash and Peter arguing over whether it was Spider-Man's fault that she was in danger in the first place. Flash is angry that Spider-Man saved Betty before he could, and the reemergence of Venom has Peter racked with self-doubt. The issue ends with Flash and Peter sitting across from one another on the couch, two friends who were unknowingly the current incarnation of a lifelong feud between Spider-Man and Venom. And that wraps up our episode on Agent Venom vs. Spider-Man. The 2011 Venom solo series with Flash Thompson as Venom was amazing. Though I am an old school Eddie Brock fan, with Brock actually being my favorite Marvel character, this series is true to form symbiote awesomeness. Flash's relationship with the symbiote is a great driving point of the series. It's all about character development and taking Venom stories to the next level, reminding me of comics like The Walking Dead and X-Men at times and how intriguing the storytelling is. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to check out the origin of Agent Venom and the follow-up episode Agent Venom vs. Kraven the Hunter, which precede this story. And check out the comic history playlist, which has all of the symbiote and Spider-Man videos we've done so far. By the way guys, just a brief announcement for the channel, RNS Gaming has returned full-time and we've got videos coming out every single day from Monday through Friday. So if you enjoy video games, definitely make sure to go check that out. We've got a bunch of fun Let's Plays, and we're going to be doing a live stream every Friday, so make sure to go subscribe. You can find links for that, my Twitter, my Facebook, and other relevant content in the description box below, so I'll see you guys next time.